To complete your life-changing recipe, there are a few other critical ingredients that can make the difference: a remarkable attitudinal quality and 2 heartfelt questions.
I think one is curiosity, wanting to know, and of course that starts early, but it's a good thing to keep going all of your life, to be curious about what's happening, curious about human beings, curious about the setup, curious about human behavior, be curious about yourself, be curious about government, politics, society, banking, money, Army, Navy, taxes, what makes things work, what makes a city work, what makes a government work. I remember years ago someone mentioned Russia might conquer China. I said, if you conquered China, what the heck would you do with it? Trying to comprehend how the world works, trying to comprehend how... I remember going to Manhattan for the first time. I was so awestruck. This huge city, and one thing that came to my mind was, how does this city work? How does everything get in? How does everything get out? And how does everybody get fed? And when you have a salad, the lettuce is fresh. And I thought, how does this happen? It's a miracle how the city works. It's a miracle how the country works. How does an economy work, right? So that it stays on a steady course. And it's amazing. But if you keep that kind of curiosity going, and then simply be curious about your relationships with other people, yourself sitting at the conference table, be curious about how you could get into the inner circle where they talk about incredible things that affect, business, commerce, society, and the world. And I think that's probably number one is curiosity. I think probably what served Tony Robbins, who attended my seminars all those years ago, the attitude was an incredible, insatiable appetite for learning. And I think if you've got that, that's it. That's part of curiosity. You just want to know. So reading the books was no problem. Going to the library was no problem. Going to class and taking notes was no problem. Then I think the third one was to immediately start putting some of it into action. Not to wait till you know it all, but to do what you know and let the rest be unfolded and revealed. The illustration is, on a foggy night, if you can only see 100 feet, if you walk that 100 feet, now you can see another 100 feet. Take it a bit at a time. But for those components that really start someone on the road to success, I think that's it. Curiosity, appetite for learning, and willingness to put it all into activity right away. Then probably willingness to take constructive criticism, not put down, but criticism. It's okay, but here's another way to consider. If you just added this, I'm telling you, it'd make you twice as powerful. Somebody says, wow, I'll consider that. So there's unique ways to say it, and then there's, the blundering ways to say it. But if you can get people to give them credit for what they're already doing, add a few more things, a bit of refinement, that's it. People willing to accept that kind of constructive analysis of how they're doing. Those are some good components.
I asked 2 good questions, I think, that are really vital, especially for mature people. Number 1, what's got you turned on? Question number 2, what's got you turned off? 2 excellent questions. Food for thought. Years ago, shortly after I met Earl Schoaf, I finally found out what had me turned off, and I got that cured. And I got enough reasons to get turned on. And from that day until this, no one has ever said to me, when are you going to get going? When are you going to get off the couch? When are you going to get started? I've never heard that since I was 25 years old. Once the fires were lit for me, they've never gone out. I've gone through my challenges from rich to broke and back to rich, and I've been through it all. But I've never had someone say, you got to get up from here and you got to get going. Never. And I don't really know how to teach it, and I really don't know how to explain it. All I know is if it ever happens, it's one of the great experiences of a lifetime. Get enough reasons to turn you on. And then just keep adding some more so that you never lack for emotional or physical vitality. and spiritual strength to just keep going, to make your life as good as you can, go as far as you can, earn as much as you can, share as much as you can, be as much as you can to the people you love and care about, live as well as you can. If you once develop that thirst and the zest. But it's interesting. What's got you turned off and what's got you turned on? See if you can't cut loose from the stuff that's got you turned off. Maybe it's negative attitude. Maybe it's poor thinking. Maybe it's doomsday thinking. You know, the whole world is going to the dogs anyway. Why try? A good sermon or lyrics of a song, conversation with somebody of value might help you turn that kind of attitude around. Like, you know, it's never going to happen for me. Why not? Can a boy 8, 9 years old buy a bottle of soap for $2 and sell it for $3 and say, yes, he probably could? Say, then that means everyone has an answer. Doesn't matter who it is. Everyone can. Not everyone will, but everyone can. And there's no reason why you can't.